was being built up?
No, I'm trying to think. No.
Maricopa is like close to Casa Grande.
Okay.
So there's like one highway that leads there into Phoenix, and a whole bunch of people ended up moving out there. People even moved to Casa Grande, and of course, very far west, like Buckeye.
Right. And they weren't areas you ever thought would develop, but they were cheaper to get homes. And you had companies like Richmond American and American West Homes that went out in these big developments. We had it in Vegas. It goes all the way up.
We're very, very similar.
Mount Charleston is, it's very similar. And you think, who the hell would live all the way up there? And the ingress and egress into the city is so far. But it's funny in a way, because I'm thinking what Adams is saying, that became the development, and then it turned into the gentrifying and going back to the older areas that got run down and redoing those areas.
Because people had different attitudes towards leisure. Now you wanted to go into platted neighborhoods, to go to gastropubs, and to go to other freaking places that you don't belong in. Go to town. Allow those neighborhoods to develop on their own, and stop putting a bunch of hipster establishments to drive up the cost of food and everything else around it just because you want to go out there on a Saturday night with your girlfriend. This is how we got here. There were different attitudes towards here. Were different attitudes towards leisure, and the proximity of leisure towards development. When you started blending the two is where you started creating pockets. You started creating pockets of things to do and people that wanted to work in those places that became unaffordable.
That's not true.
Well, I would
say your situation in Los Angeles is multi-millionaires.
We're not talking about Los Angeles.
Hold on.
We're talking about California.
Okay, I'm talking about California.
Oh my God.
One at a time. When it
comes to
one at a time, and then I wanted to hear David's take on this, because where he has also developed.
But like where we live, Abby, so Vegas and Phoenix, I think we would always go back and forth for which was the fastest growing city in the country. And so our experience, I think, is actually a lot different from most of the country, just because we have for decades we've been amongst the fastest growing cities, and there's only so many places you can build. It's my understanding that the housing affordability for young people it is a lot worse now than it was for previous generations, like a whole lot worse. And I get it. There's some people who think they're entitled to live. In really nice areas, in a nice loft, or which can cost a fortune in Manhattan or wherever. But no, that's not most people, though.
I'm trying to think.
Maricopa
is close to Casa Grande. Okay, so you have to get just one highway that leads there into Phoenix.
Most people literally are just trying to
a whole bunch of people ended up moving out there.
Abby, this is where experience. None of these idiots have worked over a decade in a world where you're watching an aging generation that's going from living with their parents over towards living on their own and then buying their first homes. So they're not really privy to these conversations.
What are you talking about?
They're not privy to this conversation from a professional standpoint, where they're having conversations with their broke friends that complain about these issues on the internet.
You don't even know my friends. This is ridiculous.
Okay, go ahead.
You work at an apartment complex selling leases. What the fuck do you know about buying a home? With all due respect. I don't work at an apartment complex selling leases.
Yeah, so the biggest issue you have in your shitty ass fucking Los Angeles, Adams, is your fucking government officials selling off the fucking rezoning for property that's supposed to be multifamily apartments, and then somebody comes in and fucking pays them off because they want to build a $100 million fucking mansion. And then on top of that, you also have BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street buying up over 49% of all single family homes by 2030. So you can blame fucking Larry Fink. He's paying 50% over market value. He's $100 million fucking just BlackRock alone.
And one of the most abusive things they started doing is they started buying up all of the trailer parks where you have pensioners,
which is $5.2 billion a fucking year in single family homes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, by 2030, he's going to own 49% of all homes in America. And he's going to create a renter society like they want to do with the 2030 Great Reset through the World Economics Forum.
But they've even gone as far, like these. But I don't know anything. To buy trailer parks, which I think is just like horrible. So basically, they immediately raise the rent. They make it so that in a very expedited fashion they can kick you out on your ass. And basically they're freezing out people that are pensioners or whatever. They have some kind of fixed income and completely exploiting them economically. And there is, to me, this is it's just so fucking disgusting.
Yeah, you should look up
You're preying on the most weak
Alibaba
and vulnerable
AI from
people in our
BlackRock,
fucking population.
which
Shut the
buys
fuck up.
Houses like in fucking picoseconds. The second it hits the
God
fucking
damn,
market,
your fucking autism is so
fucking crazy, right?
Wait, hold on, David. Do you see this trend in LA?
Well, the
what
trend,
we're talking about?
well, yeah. I mean, look. So, just from a 30,000-foot view of Los Angeles, there's been a shakeup in the entertainment industry. You just had an article. Guys like Jonah Hill are moving south. There's been a flight out here. I don't know if you guys watch Netflix or the Apple movies and stuff. You get a lot of A+ listers, but the content isn't the best. Well, there's been a washout of jobs here in Los Angeles in regard to that. LA's always been a kind of a glamour town. We're blessed by great weather, and what I'm going to say is I think that the high cost of living, the social problems have driven a lot of people out of here, particularly people who want to start a family. Let's say you're an educated college grad or not a college grad. I'm not saying that to be about graduating from college, but you're a young couple. You can't live in certain parts of Los Angeles and raise a family safely or even affordably. So you've got issues.
This is ridiculous. Okay,
cost of
go ahead.
location.
You work in an apartment complex selling leases. What the fuck do you know about buying a home? I mean, with all due respect.
In an apartment complex selling leases.
Private, you got to pay for that.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest issue you have in your shitty ass fucking Los Angeles, Adams, is your fucking government officials selling off the fucking rezoning for property that's supposed to be multifamily apartments, and then somebody comes in and fucking pays them off because they want to build a $100 million fucking mansion, and then on top of that, you also have BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street buying up over 49% of all single-family homes by 2030. So I mean, you can blame fucking Larry Fink. He's paying 50% over market value. He's paying $100 million fucking just BlackRock alone.
And one of the most abusive things they started doing is, they started buying up all of the trailer parks where you have pensioners.
Which is $5.2 billion a fucking year in single-family homes.
Because there's more poor people in Los Angeles than there are rich people. And they drive a lot of the politics. They drive a lot of the rental laws, the rental concessions. They're passing a law now where you have to be down 2 months before a landlord can start eviction. So imagine you're a small landlord and you're dealing with renters that want to game the system, and you got to pay your mortgage. You can't go to your bank and say, "Hey, can you give me 2 months before I get a 30-day late on my mortgage?" No, they want that payment on time. So I would say that there's a lot of things broken. And there's a lot of washout of the middle class here, and it's not as fun a place to live when you see a lot of broken people walking through stairwells and parking structures. It's just not a fun place to live when you see humanity suffering like that. It really isn't. It's not fun to walk into your yoga class and you've got to deal with some of that. You're trying to take care of your health. And you realize there's a lot of people hurting out there, and then your politicians, aren't doing anything about it. Like this guy Spencer Pratt, for example, he's a reality TV guy. His house got burned to the ground. He's been living out of a trailer. He's running for mayor of Los Angeles. He just ran an ad on his. He just got backed by Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers, and he's running an ad saying Mayor Bass is living in a $3 million house while I'm living in a trailer because I can't get my home rebuilt. So, I think he's coming at the problem as surgically as I've ever seen a candidate expose Los Angeles the way that he has. And he might get the money to win. We'll see. And but LA has always had the same exact policies and programs